Makeup for if you're not allowed to wear makeup. Undetectable coverage of acne and dark circles. Let me show you how I did this. I know my brows aren't natural. Obviously, that's not the point. I'm doing more makeup after this, but it was requested that I do a tutorial for people that aren't allowed to wear makeup. So I gotcha. I filmed myself doing this and TikTok decided to delete it. So we're gonna walk through how I did it. Step one, you wanna start with a hydrated base. So I went in with my sunscreen and my moisturizer, no primer. You wanna pick a good concealer. Concealer is going to really be key because you really want it to match. The concealer that I used for this was a drugstore concealer. It was the Maybelline Superstay 30-hour wear concealer. This is good for all over the face because it kind of dries down and is more matte. It's not as good for under the eye for that reason. For under the eye, you want something a little more wet. For all over the face, you want something a little more dry. For under my eye, I used my handy dandy LA Pro concealer or LA Girl Pro concealer. This is a really good product. I'm almost done with mine. Skinny tube. Some other products that I like that I want to shout out are the NARS Soft Matte Pot Concealer. This is usually what I do. This is like my holy grail. The drugstore dupe I would say is the NYX Pro Fix Stick. It is a little creamier, but these both have really full pigment for if you have a lot of really deeply pigmented acne scars or acne. I also want to give a shout out to the House Labs. I think this is good for all over the face as well as under the eyes. These I would only use on the face. But once you have your concealer, I put this on spots and let it dry. And then what I did is I went in for under the eye. Now under the eye, what you're gonna do is you want to take a dollop of concealer on the back of your hand. There we go. Get a dollop of concealer. And what we're gonna do is we need then a concealer brush. A good concealer brush that I like is the House Labs concealer brush. This has enough fluff, but it's also dense enough that it's going to pack the pigment where you want it to go. Now you want to prime your brush with the concealer. So really get it all up in the brush. And then after this, you're going to tap, 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 apply this underneath the eyes. Again, I already did this. TikTok deleted my post, but then you're gonna take the extra, especially if you have dark eyelids like I do, you're gonna take the extra from the brush and just wipe it over your eyelids. So everything looks cohesive. This darker region is going to all be illuminated. So it'll look a little more even if you have really deep set eyes like I do. If your eyes protrude more out and you don't have the dark circles all over the eye, if they're just under the eye and you're just trying to cover that, you can just cover that. But my dark circles are all around my eye. Then what you wanna do, if you have acne, if you're more acne prone, you can set with a powder foundation. I recommend a talc-based powder foundation for this very reason. I like the Fenty, this is my favorite, it's discontinued. I also like the MAC, this is discontinued, but one that is not discontinued that is from the drugstore is L'Oreal. But if we're trying to do the most natural option possible, I'm gonna go with a translucent or a clear setting powder. For me, I use Huda Beauty Easy Bake Cherry Blossom Bake, I think that's what it's called. I use this one. This is clear translucent on me because I'm very fair, but depending on your skin tone, you might choose a different color. But something that is going to not add color on top of what we put down, because in order for it to be undetectable, we have to do concealer, powder, setting spray. But what you do when you set with powders, we really don't want to use a lot. I take a big brush and I load the powder all up into the brush, all over all of it, like this, and I just tap it all over my face until my face looks matte enough. However, when you mix powder and makeup, like liquid makeup, that is going to kind of coagulate and form a layer, so you want to minimize the amount of powder you are using and use a very natural color. I do think that unless you need the extra coverage, foundation powder usually will look a little cakier, but it's not for under the eyes. And then lastly, after you set with powder, I recommend if you want it to look more natural, using a water-based setting spray, but also something with a lot of film formers just so it actually sets the makeup. I recommend the NYX Face Glue. I think this is a fantastic product. You just have to shake it up before you use it. And yeah, that is how I did this.